You are 22. 5 of you split a 2-bedroom apartment above a laundromat the summer after college, sleeping on couches and an air mattress that never holds air past 3 a.m. Tyler cooks eggs for everyone on Sunday because he's the only one who can actually cook, standing at the stove in a t-shirt with a hole in it, narrating the eggs like a cooking show nobody asked for. Priya keeps a jar on the counter labeled rent money and marker, and everyone throws in whatever they can when they can, crumpled fives and a few loose quarters that somehow always add up by the first of the month. Nobody has anything. That's the whole point of that summer. Having nothing together doesn't feel like poverty. It feels like the beginning of something. You get a job that fall, $41,000. Entry level at a logistics company, cubicle, headset, the whole thing. You set up an automatic transfer that same month, $150 into an index fund. Mostly because your uncle told you to at your graduation party and you didn't have a better idea of your own. You don't tell the group chat about it. It's not the kind of thing that fits between memes and someone's Saturday night plans. You don't know it yet, but this exact group chat is going to be the place you find out, over the next 20 years, exactly what money does to people who didn't expect it. You are 25. Tyler's startup gets acquired. Not written up in a major paper, nothing that dramatic, but real money, the kind that changes a person's face when they say the number out loud at a bar. He buys a round for the whole group that night, then another, then a car 2 months later, a matte black thing that looks like it was designed to be photographed, and it is photographed, constantly, in every driveway and parking lot it's ever parked in. You're happy for him, you genuinely are. You also notice, standing in the parking lot admiring it with everyone else, that your account crossed $8,000 that same week, and nobody asks about that number, and you don't offer it, because $8,000 doesn't buy a round for anybody. The group chat changes that year, subtly, the way water changes temperature before you notice you're the one still standing in it. Trip ideas start getting bigger. Tyler floats Tullum for someone's birthday, 4 nights, a villa, splitting 5 ways still comes to $1,100 a person before flights. You go, you put it on a credit card you pay off over 3 months, quietly, the interest a small tax on staying in a group photo. Nobody in the chat knows it cost you 3 months. Tyler doesn't know because he genuinely can't imagine it costing anyone 3 months. That's just what having money early does to your memory of not having it. You are 27. Priya gets into a hot startup as an early employee, equity heavy, salary light, and everyone treats her like she's already rich because everyone's seen the term sheet screenshots Tyler shares without asking her first. Your account crosses $19,000. You raise your transfer to $250 after a small raise, a decision that takes you 11 minutes on a Sunday and gets exactly 0 minutes of conversation anywhere else in your life. Someone in the group buys a boat that summer, not Tyler, a 5th friend named Marcus who works in sales and closed one enormous account that pays out like a lottery ticket once a year. Everyone gets invited out on the boat, you go, you bring the beer, because that's the currency you actually have. You don't know it yet, but the account nobody in this chat has ever asked about is about to be the only thing standing between you and a decision you'll regret for the rest of your life. You are 29. This is the year it almost breaks. Tyler starts angel investing with his acquisition money, small checks into friends' ideas, a habit that makes him feel like he's paying it forward and makes the group chat feel like a farm system for his next win. He pitches you at a birthday dinner, 3 drinks in, leaning across the table with the same energy he had the day he told you about the acquisition, the same wide gesture with both hands like he's already holding the future. A friend of his is building an app, something in the fitness space, and Tyler's putting in $15,000 and thinks you should get in too, even $3,000. Just to have a piece of it, man, this is going to be the next big thing, I can feel it. Everyone at the table nods along, the way tables nod along at things that sound certain when said with enough confidence. Marcus is in for 5, Priya's in for 2, mostly to be polite, mostly because $2,000 was never going to be the number that decided anything for her either way. You go home that night and sit at your kitchen table with your laptop open, the account at $31,000, $3,000 a number the account could absorb without you missing a single bill, and also a number that took you 5 years of $150 and $250 transfers to build into something that finally feels like it could turn into anything. You think about the group chat, about being the one who always says no, about how no has started to feel like a costume you wear to every gathering where money comes up. You open your bank app, you start filling out the transfer to Tyler's friend's account number, the one he texted the group earlier that night. Your cursor sits on the confirm button for a long time. You think about the 4 months last year it took to pay off Tulum, the interest that quietly ate into a bonus you never got to actually spend on anything. You think about the boat you didn't buy a single part of, the round of drinks you've never once bought for 6 people, The small, private math you've been doing quietly for 5 years while everyone around you did loud math out loud. You think about how the next big thing is a sentence you've now heard 11 times since college, and how you can't remember a single one of those 11 things actually becoming the next big thing, only remember the checks that went into them. You close the laptop without sending it. You text Tyler the next morning that you're going to sit this one out. This time, no hard feelings, you just want to keep doing your boring thing. He sends back a thumbs up and a "your loss LOL" that stings for exactly one afternoon and then doesn't anymore. You are 32. The fitness app folds 18 months in, quietly, the way these things always fold. No dramatic announcement, just a slow disappearance from the group chat's conversation topics, the way a person stops coming up in conversation long before anyone officially says they're gone. Tyler's out $15,000. Marcus is out $5,000. Priya's out $2,000 and shrugs it off because $2,000 was never going to change her trajectory either way. Nobody brings up your $3,000 you didn't send, and you don't bring it up either, because bringing it up would mean admitting you'd been keeping score the whole time, which you had, quietly, the same way you keep score of everything else nobody asks about. Your account crosses $58,000 that same year. You raise the transfer to $400. That same year you get married, a small ceremony at a park, 30 people, folding chairs borrowed from Priya's parents' garage. Your spouse works in nonprofit fundraising, kind, funny, endlessly generous with plans and gestures, the same instinct half your friend group has, the instinct to say yes loudly to things. For the first couple years, neither of you notices that this might eventually be a problem. You are 35, this is the year something breaks that doesn't come back. The fights in the marriage were never really about money, except they were always about money, the way arguments in a marriage usually turn out to be about something underneath the thing being argued about. Your spouse wants to say yes to things, a real honeymoon you never took, a friend's destination wedding, a nicer apartment closer to downtown, and you keep doing the math out loud without meaning to. The same instinct that's kept the transfer running for 13 years now, turned into something that lands differently across a kitchen table than it ever did in a spreadsheet. The marriage ends that spring, not dramatically. No version of anything in this story gets to be dramatic apparently, just a slow agreement over 4 months, and a mediator neither of you particularly likes. The settlement splits the account down the middle, an account that took 13 years to build to $96,000, cut clean in half on a Thursday afternoon in an office with bad lighting, $48,000 gone into somebody else's life the same day the paperwork gets signed. You don't get it back. There's no version of this where you get it back. You just start the transfer over from half of where it was, the same $400 landing on the same day of the month, except now it's landing into an account that used to be twice this size, 13 years of compounding cut off at the knee and the time it takes to sign 3 initials on 4 pages. You don't tell the group chat the number. You don't tell them much of anything that year, only that things didn't work out, the same 3 words everyone in this chat has used for something eventually. Tyler sends a text that just says "here if you need anything," and for once doesn't mention money, doesn't offer a check, doesn't try to fix it with a gesture the way he's fixed everything else in his life since 25, and it's the first time in 13 years his silence feels like exactly the right amount of help. You are 36. You raise the transfer to $650 that spring, then to $900 within 2 years, picking up overtime some months just to make up lost ground quietly, no one ever knowing why, the account climbing back the same boring way it climbed the first time, one paycheck at a time, except now you know exactly how fast half of 13 years can disappear on a Thursday afternoon, and the knowing changes the shape of every transfer after it. Tyler's second startup investment does work, actually works. A real return this time, enough that he starts talking about diversifying into real estate at dinners in a voice that's gotten a little more careful than it used to be. Marcus closes another enormous account and buys a bigger boat, the old one traded in without much fanfare. Priya's startup gets acquired too, her equity finally converting into a number large enough that she quietly stops coming to the group chat's trip planning threads, not out of unkindness, just because a 5-way split stopped making sense for her life, the same way it stopped making sense for yours, just from the opposite direction. Your account crosses $95,000 that year, back to almost exactly where it stood the day the settlement cut it in half. Nobody in the chat has ever once asked you what that number is. You've stopped expecting them to. You don't know it yet, but the friend everyone assumed had already won this whole thing is 15 years away from calling you at midnight asking how you actually did it. You are 40. Tyler's real estate diversification doesn't go the way the dinners made it sound. 2 properties, bought at the top, financed aggressively, cash flow negative the exact month interest rates move against him, a spreadsheet he stops mentioning at dinners the way he used to mention everything, loudly, 3 drinks in, both hands moving, he doesn't lose everything. Nothing that dramatic ever actually happens to Tyler. That's part of what makes him Tyler. He just quietly sells the matte black car, the one that used to get photographed in every parking lot, and starts driving a car nobody comments on anymore, and stops floating Tullum-sized trip ideas in the group chat. Not because anyone asks him to stop, but because the math stopped working for him the way it briefly stopped working for you the year of the fitness app. Except his version of stopping working doesn't come with a lesson attached the way yours did. Just a quieter version of the same table he used to sit at loudest. You bring drinks to a barbecue that summer, same as you always have, and Tyler pulls you aside by the cooler, quieter than you've ever heard him, a version of his voice you didn't know existed until that exact moment. I used to think you were just being cautious, he says. Like, cute, whatever, everybody needs a cautious friend. I didn't think you were actually doing something. I thought I was the one doing something. You don't say anything clever back, you just hand him a beer. Your account crosses $270,000 that year, built back from half of itself in 5 years flat, faster the second time because you finally knew exactly what the number was for. You still haven't told the group chat the number, and for the first time you're not sure it's because you're embarrassed. You think it might just be because it was never the group chat's business, the same way none of their numbers were ever really yours to keep score of either. Not the boat, not the car, not the term sheets nobody asked to see screenshots of. You are 45. Marcus's boat gets sold after a rough year in sales, nothing dramatic said about it in the chat, just a quiet absence of boat photos where there used to be a steady stream of them. Priya's the only one who ever actually got fully out ahead and stayed there, generous about it in a way that never once made you feel small, which is its own kind of wealth nobody in this story has a number for. You go to the same kind of gatherings you went to at 22, except now you're the one who quietly covers the tab sometimes, not to prove anything, just because you can, and because you remember exactly what it felt like when you couldn't. You do the math you've done 100 times since, 23 years, most of it at $150 to $900 a month, nothing dramatic, no acquisition, no boat, no term sheet anyone screenshot into a group chat. One night at 29 you almost sent $3,000 to a fitness app that folded 18 months later. One Thursday afternoon at 35 you watched 13 years of it get cut clean in half in an office with bad lighting and started over anyway. Tyler got rich first. Then he got regular again. Marcus got rich in bursts, once a year, like weather, gone as fast as it arrived. Priya got rich and stayed rich, and never once made the rest of you feel poor for it. You never got rich first, you just never once stopped, not even the year you had to start over from half, the same small transfer landing on the same day of the month for 23 years running, through every boat, every term sheet, every round of drinks you didn't buy, and the one Thursday that took half of it away without asking. Here's the thing nobody tells you at 22, standing in an apartment above a laundromat with 4 other people who have nothing either. Getting rich first was never the same thing as getting rich. It was just getting there loud, and early, and visibly, in a way that made everyone else's quiet math feel invisible by comparison, right up until the year the loud money needed the quiet money to still be standing there. Maybe you're 25 right now, watching someone in your friend group buy the car, the boat, the round of drinks you can't match, and starting to believe the gap between you is permanent. Maybe you're 29, sitting at a kitchen table with a cursor on a confirm button, about to send money into somebody else's certainty because your own boring certainty doesn't feel like enough at a birthday dinner. Maybe you're 35, watching 13 years of quiet discipline get split down the middle in an office with bad lighting, wondering if any of it was worth it. Maybe you're Tyler, quietly selling the car nobody comments on anymore, wondering when the friend you used to feel sorry for became the one you call at midnight. It was never about who got rich first. It was always about who was still in the group chat 20 years later, and what they'd quietly built while everyone else was busy being first. You bring the beer to the barbecue, you hand Tyler one by the cooler, neither of you says anything else about money. The group chat pings twice while you're standing there, someone posting a photo from years ago, everyone still in that same 2-bedroom apartment above the laundromat, younger, broker, and somehow already exactly who you'd all turn out to be. The jar on the counter still labeled rent money